Hey, what's up? Hello! Welcome to the BIONIC podcast. I'm your host, Elisa Richards, and I'm freaking stoked for today because today is the very first episode of BIONIC. It is a rare, gloomy day here in Los Angeles. We're getting cozy in my home. It's just me and you today. And the reason why I started BIONIC is because I am bionic. I'm hard of hearing, which means I wear hearing aids in each ear. So I have special little devices that help me live from day to day. However, this podcast is not about me. I actually think that everybody is bionic because everybody has a superhuman strength that they naturally just excel at. Whether that's being a people person and making other people feel comfortable, or whether that's being the funny, brash, life of the party friend, or that's somebody that can read 10 books in a week. Everybody has their own superpower, and I'm here to highlight that because often I feel like we hear all these celebs, or people in the media talking about how they feel so alone and that they struggled for most of their life to accomplish something. They struggled alone on the way to success. And I'm like, what's the point of that? Life is supposed to be about having fun. It's supposed to be about having adventures and enjoying the fuck out of it, savoring it, And so I figured, why not start a podcast where I bring out some of my best friends and I keep this grassroots level, real life people that have taken big chances on themselves, that have gone on adventures and that have dared to bet on themselves and seen some of the world and experienced different slices of life. That's what's interesting to me. So that's what I'm going to talk about. But before we get into some of that, I do want to talk to you guys today about the color theory, which is how I've lived my life since, I was age 4. It's just something that I think it's been a guiding post to making sure that I'm always having fun. I'm not saying I invented this. I'm just saying that as a child, this is kind of how I moved through the world. I imagine life to be a big, white, blank canvas, okay? And if you only get one canvas, well, don't you want all the colors? I mean, why do you want just pink on your canvas? That would be no fun. If you had to spend your whole life painting with only the color pink, you didn't get any other options, boring. I don't want it. Thank you, next. And so for some reason, I've always just been interested in collecting experiences, collecting stories. Again, it's all about the memories and learning to view colors as experiences. To get to that, I want to tell you about who I am so that we can get intimate, so that you can feel like you know who I am, and just so you get a vibe. You'll know if this is for you or not. So I am 31 years old. I'm in Los Angeles. I grew up in a small town in Alabama. Shout out Trustful, Roll Tide. Yep, I'm one of those people. My entire family is dump truck drivers. Not just 18-wheeler drivers, dump truck drivers. We blue collar around here, baby. As blue collar as it gets. And I love it. I'm proud of that. And I'm proud to have lived in many different parts of America to end up here. And I think what has been interesting about my life is coming from a very small town in Alabama where everybody is very cookie cutter. You dress the same way, your accent's the same way, you talk the same way, you just everything's the same. And you can't really veer too far off the path. At least that's how it was pre-social media. Growing up in a small town, you didn't have access to just what people in another state were doing. It was a very limited scope of what you thought you could do with your life. Growing up as a deaf, hard of hearing kid, obviously I always felt a little bit unique, a little bit odd, because I was just this little cute little girl running around school saying, what, because I couldn't hear anything. And my hearing aids back in the 90s were massive. They were heavy, they were chunky, they were not cute. And I was really embarrassed to be deaf because everybody else could communicate with the teacher or could communicate with their friends or And I was just a girl, like, killing on the playground, being adventurous by myself. Anyway, grew up hard of hearing deaf. Went to college, University of Alabama, let's freaking go, party school. But when I got there, I initially entered the University of Alabama thinking that I could only be a doctor, a lawyer, or like a police officer. Like, I really didn't know that you could be other things, because you only can envision what you have been exposed to. My freshman year of college, I found out about the Disney College Program, which basically is an internship at Disney for a whole semester where you go and you work at Disney World or Disneyland. It's supposed to just give you like real life working experience. This sounded really exciting to me because the previous summer I had been an intern at Children's Hospital where there were terminally ill children. And I thought, I could be a nurse. I could be a pharmacist. When I started working at that hospital, I realized instantly, nope, ain't for me. You know why? Because I cried. Every single day, I cried. I'm just too much of an empath, and I have a really hard time separating myself from other people. We're still working on that. But I was like, I can't. This is not the environment that I will thrive in. I love people. I love communing with people. But, like, this environment is not for me. I think I have a different use in the world. So when I found out about Disney, it was the first time I was like, I could work in entertainment? You're telling me that I could just be a character and just wave at people and give hugs all day? I moved to Orlando, Florida, and I am instantly exposed to so many different cultures. There's so many people speaking different languages at the grocery stores. The spectrum of sexuality is drastically bigger than what I've ever known, and I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so diverse here. I love the diversity here, and I just felt less odd. Like, I felt like being deaf no longer made me different because everybody around me was kind of different. Like, it was no longer cookie cutter. And I was like, wow, okay, like, we can live large. So anyway, I'd kind of been all over the map doing different things. I temporarily joined the rowing team in college. I was a coxswain, which is basically just the bitch at the front of the boat yelling out orders for the people actually pulling the oars. Here I am, leadership position, little petite tiny girl who can't hear nothing, doing rowing. Fun fact, I was president of my sorority, which I think is very unlike me because I don't feel like a traditional sorority girl, but maybe I am. I don't know. Anyway, I graduate college and I moved from Alabama to Glendale, which is in Los Angeles. And for the past 8 years, I've just been doing so many different things in Los Angeles, finding my footing. And I've always used the color theory, which I thought of when I was a kid, to kind of live the life that feels the most authentic to me and live the life that feels the most fun, because that's what this is all about. Just a quick recap, I did digital analytics for social media for Disney parks. I continued to work as a character performer at Disneyland post-college for a little bit. I worked in publicity for Walt Disney Studios, Freeform, ABC Family, Fox. I then decided that, you know what? The corporate desk life isn't for me. I thought like that was my dream. I put it on my vision board. I was like, I'm going to live in Burbank, California. I'm going to work for ABC Family for the show Pretty Little Liars, which is like the hot show of the time. And that's what I'm going to do. And I did it. I did it within a year of setting out to do that. And then when I got there, I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of bored. I mean, can you imagine, like, you get your dream job and then you realize, oh, I'm literally just going to be stuck at this desk all day in this beautiful, gorgeous, sunny and 75 city while everybody else is out and about in the world, like, in the sunshine, making their own content, just being, like, a creator. And, like, I realized, oh, I don't want to be on the corporate side. I think I want more authorship of my creativity. So then I had to start from scratch. Zero, nothing, nada. I started as a hostess in a restaurant, which is like the lowest of the totem pole. And then I became the first female busser at the restaurant I was working at, which a busser is just a person that cleans tables and like removes all the dishes. I also worked at a radio station behind the scenes, kind of doing like late night television news, like local news. And then I was a server, and then I started to just travel all over. I started becoming obsessed with the national parks in America and going on all these trips with my friends and getting outdoors. Anyway, I say all this to say I feel like I have lived many different lifetimes in the past 10 years. Most recently, I have been acting and directing. And to be honest, I'm still stumbling through life. Do you see my vision board back here? It says, classically and officially trained in nothing. Yet here we are. Back to the color theory. So like, when I went to go work at the corporate world at ABC Family, I was like, oh my gosh, what a fun new color. So far in Alabama, for example, let's say Alabama is the color yellow. I've only been painting with yellow. That's all I know, right? Is how people in my small town move, how people in my high school move and operate through the world. Cheerleading gave me a different color of yellow, but it was still yellow, right? And then moving into the corporate world in Los Angeles, California, where the corporate world is not so corporate. Everybody is super chill, wearing jeans and t-shirts to work, versus in Alabama, working at a news station, you're wearing like slacks and a button up, and everybody's buttoned up and tight. Those are just different experiences, and they're different colors. And you get to decide, ooh, the corporate world of California is a lush green. And I'm like, ooh, do I like this green? Do I like this lax lifestyle? Yet having to be inside all day strapped to a desk because this is pre-COVID. There was no working from home. Do I like this color green? But you know what? It makes the canvas more fun. It makes the canvas more colorful. And then learning to, be a character performer at Disney. I love that color. Let's say it was purple. I was like, this is so cool because as a character, I'm getting to meet people, so many people, 200 people in like 30 minutes, all different ethnicities. And even though we're having the same interaction of high five, hug, signature, every interaction is different because everybody's energy is different. These kids would come up, they would obviously be like in light up shoes with like a little Minnie Mouse outfit on and these huge ears that's entirely too big for their heads, just like flopping around with their autograph book, note, and their pen flailing out and about, just like barely holding on. And the mom has like the stroller that has all the milk and the water bottles and the snacks and a change of clothes and a diaper bag. Like she's like strapped to the max. And then the dad's, got the camera. And if you're somebody that has a camera, you don't get a lot of like attention one-on-one, right? Because you're the one taking the photographs. And so I would love to like pay attention to the kids. And I'd also love to go and just put my hand on the dad's shoulder. And it would be crazy because the dad would just look at me and he would see Mickey or somebody like that. I'm trying not to give away the Disney magic, okay? And it was just like, he's rushed taking photos and all of a sudden he sees Mickey and he's like, and just for a second, you can see the magic. You can feel the magic and you can tell he's transported back to when he was like 10 or 12 and he loved Mickey Mouse and cartoons. And I love that job so much. And it made me connect with humanity in a different way. I'm too old to do that job now, but I loved having the color purple for my white canvas of life to play with. And I also think that while I loved that job, it was brutal. It didn't pay very much, and I think my pay was like $7.25 when I worked there. You're making nothing. They're working you like dogs at the park. I didn't have any money. But I will say, like, that came with stress of buying groceries and living on my own for the first time. And when I lived in Orlando at Disney World, it was a 4-bedroom apartment with 8 girls. So there was 2 girls in every single bedroom. And there was 2 fridges. And it just wasn't always the easiest time, right? Because everybody's coming from a different walk of life, and you're just like, let's hope we get along. And we all have different schedules, because sometimes the park would be open till like 2 a.m. and then other people would have to be at work at 7 a.m. Like, it was chaos. It was absolute chaos. The best time of my life, though. Shout out Disney College Program. Would do it again in a heartbeat. But anyway, I also think moving into adulthood, me and a lot of my friends struggled, because all of a sudden you have all this freedom in college, you're living it up, you're partying, you're totally in control of your schedule, to then being like strapped down by the real world. And even though we've had a lot of shit experiences and just adulthood and the challenges it presents, like losing friends to suicide, or getting fired from a job, or not having a job for a year or two after college, trying to find any job to feel like you have a purpose in the world. All of that is a huge thing to process, and they're not easy things to process, but I look at them on my canvas of life as a color. And maybe they're not the most fun color, like, they're brown or like a beige, but the canvas wouldn't be as colorful as it could be without those sad, hard, tragic moments. And I think that those moments, even though they're really challenging and you're like, I am not in the mood to paint with the color beige. I'm so over painting with beige, I can't even stand the color beige anymore. You're like looking for something better. Those colors make you realize that is not what you want. You have the power to change what colors you're playing with. It's so easy to blame situations, people, time for not enjoying our life, but we're entirely up to painting different colors. And the thing is, you don't know what color you like or what experience you want until you use it. So until you're brave enough to be like, okay, I've been living in this city, not enjoying my friends, not enjoying my work, not enjoying my community, not liking this church, whatever it is, you have the power to change that. You have to say, okay, I'm not playing with this color anymore. I'm not going to spend any more time putting this lime, yellow, green color on my canvas, because I don't want lime, yellow, green anymore. Instead, I want orange. Where can I find orange? And you may think that you found orange. You may be like, okay, I'm going to move from this city, I'm going to bebop over, and these are the friends I'm going to look for. And you get there, and you think it's orange, and it actually turns out to be like a red, like a burnt red, rust color. And then you have to do it again. And I know that seems maybe not the most enticing or motivating to keep playing, but I feel like because I have quote unquote failed so many times, just doing so many different things, trying new ideas, starting an Etsy shop just to see what would happen, exploring different forms of expression and playing with different colors. I feel like that's what's made life so exciting, and I feel like that gives me the most fulfillment because I feel like it's authentic to me, because I'm not stopping for any color or any experience unless it feels good to me. And that's a hard thing to do when you want to appease other people, or you want to stick to the status quo, or you're just too scared. But here's the thing. You have to be willing to give up good to go for great. You have to be willing. It's like that iconic meme. There's a meme of a little girl who's holding this tiny little teddy bear. And she's standing in front of God, and God is kneeling down eye to eye with this girl. And God is saying, he has his hand lifted out to the little girl, and he's like, just trust me. I need your small teddy bear. And the girl's clenching on to the teddy bear so tight. She's like, but God, I love this teddy bear. And then we can see, as the audience, that behind God is this huge bear, one that's 6 times the size of the small little bear that this girl is clenching onto. And we can see it because we're at a different vantage point of what's going on, but the girl can't. The little tiny girl can't. And it's we just have to believe and trust in ourselves enough to know that we deserve a big, juicy life and that we deserve to play with all the colors. All the colors of the rainbow, we want them on our canvas. You know why? Because at the end of your life, I really do think you're going to be like, it's all about the memories. It's all about the experiences. It's all about collecting things and just seeing what feels right and authentic and gooey. For whoever is hearing this, I feel like there's always ways to bend and tweak our own lives. And whatever it is that's on your heart, that's on your mind, that's on your soul, that you want to spice up a little bit, that you want to change the hue of the color that you're currently painting your life canvas with, this is your sign to do it. Because you freaking deserve it. And getting back to the name of the podcast, BIONIC, is that you already inherently know what you're good at. Okay, maybe you've been shying away from it. Maybe you've been downplaying your skill set. Maybe you haven't used the thing that you're good at in a really long time, but you are BIONIC. And you came here with a purpose and a mission and to have fun. And this is only going to last maybe 80 years. Maybe 100. I don't know, but it seems like it's about 80 years, okay? So, like, now is the time. If not now, then when? I mean, even me today, I didn't want to do this. I feel like such an imposter. I don't know why, because this is what people have told me I'm good at my entire life. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to view podcasting as a different stroke. I'm gonna view it as this little peach color that's on my shirt right here. If you're not watching, I'm wearing some kind of shirt with a bunch of different anchovies on it. It's a vibe. It's very LA. But I'm going to view this podcast as the peach color. And I'm having fun with peach. Even though it scares me because I've never played with peach, I'm like, this is the season of the peach, baby. The guests I'm going to be bringing on are iconic, and I love them so much. And some of them are disabled because I am deeply in the disabled community, specifically in the creative space, but not all of them are. And just because they're disabled, I don't want the story to be about their disability. It's not about that. But it's about people that have overcome obstacles, whether they're disabled or not. And, it's about people that took chances on themselves. Like, for example, one girl moved from Pasadena, California to Maine to become a sailor. What? That's a huge lifestyle change. What a different stroke of color. Just so many people like that have been and experienced and collected so many things as a human being that I cannot wait to share that with you guys. It's going to be unbelievable. And I just want you to walk away feeling bionic. And when you hear other people doing these things with their life, I hope it inspires you to go a little bigger, to be a little bit more adventurous, and to just take a chance on yourself and do the thing that you are the most resistant to doing. And I just want it to be a safe, fun, colorful space where we all just get to hang out and gab for a week. Thank you guys so much for watching my very first podcast episode, BIONIC. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is you do for podcasts. I appreciate all the support in the world because I need it just as much as you. I need support back. So if you feel so called to do so, please just give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little rating. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you want to hear about. Or if you have a friend that has a really cool life story, let me know. I would love to one day be able to take this podcast on the road and just hit up people in the streets, people that have been doing different things with their life, and just keep it grassroots level, real life people. That's all for today. Thank you guys. See you next week. Bye. Oh, and remember, the revolution is accessible.